funnier. And we're live with another episode of BS Busters, and I'm joined by the usual suspect. Go ahead, sir. Introduce yourself.
This is Kenoshi Abominito. Glad to be here at another one of these BS Busters.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. So, how can I put this nicely? This is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor of BS Busters. Glad to be on another cast. Or to be running another cast. So, we have some news stories, but I guess the big news is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog came out. No one was surprised by that.
Yeah.
And the Nintendo Switch Indie World Showcase came out today, which they just shadow dropped. They stealth dropped that shit. They're like,
Yeah, pretty much.
and I wish they had just kept it hidden for a little bit because it was kind of underwhelming. It was a little
Yeah.
underwhelming. I'm just saying, it was a little underwhelming to me. To me. But without much ado, I guess before we get started, I guess I'll scroll this out a little bit. What you been playing?
I've been playing Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Edition. Also, been playing a little bit of Minish Cap on Game Boy Advance Emulator. So,
Yeah, I mean the ideas in Minish Cap are really cool. The execution, not so much, but the ideas are amazing.
I saw a review of it. It kind of looks like they try to do a little too much in that game.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that's a fair criticism because like if they had not had stuff like the kin stone, the friendship stones and all that shit and just focused on making a really good 2D overhead style Legend of Zelda game, um and maybe make the final boss a little bit less of a chore, it could have been amazing. Because at this point, I can tell you right now, Vadi is the hardest 2D Legend of Zelda boss I have ever played and beaten. And I played
Yeah.
every mainline 2D Legend of Zelda game in existence. And Vadi is the one where I'm just like, this dude is just insane. I can't beat him.
Yeah.
So I have been playing one game a whole lot. Well, actually, two. I've been playing Guild Wars 2 and Saints Row, the reboot that came out this year. Um, because I'm trying to beat it, and once I beat it, then I can give my review. Because it's one of those things that I want to say I at least beat the main game and did a lot of the side activities before I say this is my opinion of the game. Because it's like if you play an open world sandbox game, you can't rush through the mainline story, do very little of the side activities, and say I can give my review because you've only experienced what 30-40% of the game. Uh,
Yeah.
and that's not a fair assessment. It's like if you went to a restaurant and you only tasted 30% of the menu and then wrote a review, and then you're like, yeah, but you didn't mention our like you didn't mention everything on the menu. It's like, well, I didn't eat that. It's like, well, you didn't really review that restaurant. You just reviewed a part of it, a small part of it, a portion of it. But anyway, here we go. That's what I've been playing. Been playing Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2, I'm going to tell you right now, I have really been enjoying playing that game. I like the
It came to
fact.
Steam recently, didn't it?
Yeah, well, I played Guild Wars 2 when it first came out years ago,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah. I know
really
it's,
enjoyed what I played of it. But like essentially like I had less time for some reason. Something happened in my life, and I had less time. So what happened was that I eventually just stopped playing it as much as I used to.
Yeah.
And that was fun. And I can what I can tell you is that the game is dramatically different from what it used to be. Um,
Yeah.
it's dramatically different from what it used to be, and yet the bare bones, like the because if you play the original Guild Wars, like a lot of the original Guild Wars stuff is still in there, and yet it's been updated and changed from what it used to be. Actually, I really do like. I really do like Guild Wars 2. You know, the downside of Guild Wars 2 is that it's one of those theme park RPGs where it's one of those theme park MMOs where essentially speaking, you're put on a map and there's all this different shit to do, and you're going from uh like theme park experience, ride to ride to ride to ride, with little shit interspersed in between. And one of the things that bothers me about the game is that they have to maintain the status quo. So, like, let's say you're pulled into it, like, okay, save this village from these evil blankety blanks. Um, like after you do it, it's just gonna restart in the next like 10-15 minutes. So you don't really
Yeah.
have a feeling of accomplishment with what you do in the world. Which I mean, there's the old nut. If they could ever make an MMO that lets you have player agency while at the same time enabling you to play the world with other people, oh man, that's gonna be an amazing MMO. But I don't, you know, will that happen? Probably not.
Yeah.
You know, and Saints Row the Third. As far as that game goes, I have been playing it. Or not Saints Row the Third, Saints Row the reboot. I've been playing it, and I'm gonna tell you right now, like a lot of the you know, people are mad. I don't like this, and it did this, and they did this. I'm like, it's really not that bad of a game. The issues that I have with that game are there's a lot of small bugs in the game that have never been fixed, or like it's like a little small things that added together make it not as smooth a gameplay experience as you would like. But it's really not that bad of a game. Like I think a lot of the complaints that people had about that game when it came out was just essentially just it was just people just finding reasons to bitch and complain.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's do it. Um, so I guess we can begin with you want to begin with the Nintendo Indie World showcase?
Yeah, Nintendo Indie Showcase was a bust. There's probably only about 2 or 3 games that probably would have stood out to most people. It's definitely for people that likes not they're not too much of a gamer. They like, but they like interactive media, and people who are into artsy stuff, niche, like really weird niche stuff. So you know, um, actually, there's I know we talked before the cast. Um, there was at least 3 games that stood out. There's this wrestling, like JRPG, or this wrestling RPG game that
Which is coming to
actually uses,
everything.
which is probably coming to everything.
No,
It
it
uses,
is.
yeah,
It was
it
announced
is.
for PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox, Switch. Like it's coming to everything.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it's
But
like
yeah, um, pretty much everything there is probably either already out on PC or is coming out on PC. So
came out on
if
PC
you,
and now it's coming to the Switch.
yeah,
Yeah, so what we have here is the first game. on the list is Sports Story, which is the sequel to Golf Story, and now
Yeah.
you have more items. Now I liked Golf Story because it felt like that golf game that came out that I actually enjoyed. Except now, this game has been in development hell though, because it was supposed to come out like 2-3 years ago. Like they showed this game off a while ago,
Yeah.
and because I enjoyed Golf Story back in the day on the Switch, it was a really
Yeah.
fun little game. And graphically, this game looks amazing. This game looks like what I wanted from Mario Golf, but Nintendo just refuses to give us anymore. Um, but whatever.
Yeah.
Rogue Legacy 2. Yay! Now, here's the thing. Anyone who really wanted this game already has it on PC, like on Steam or Switch or, you know,
Yeah.
other shit.
Yeah.
So I'm not understanding. I fail to understand how. I mean, I'm glad that the Switch owner, if you only have a Switch, you're getting your hands on a pretty good roguelike. Although I will say this much, this game kind of Rogue Legacy 2 kind of essentially it doesn't really do a lot of new shit from the old game. Like graphically, it looks very similar to the old game. There's some new shit in there, but like it kind of feels like it's it feels more like Rogue Legacy 1.5 than Rogue Legacy 2. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for those of you who may not know what Rogue Legacy is, Rogue Legacy was the central conceit of that game is that you play the descendant of some guy or girl who essentially you go into this castle trying to fight your way in to fight the big bad boss. And as the game goes along, you get riches, which you can then use to upgrade your familial estate outside of this castle that you're fighting your way into. And
Yeah.
you can like those carry over. But here's the other central conceit: as the game goes along, and your characters die, and you get your descendants, you can choose your descendants to have traits and disabilities and strengths. So like they could be something like frail, which means that they take more damage from physical attacks. They could be colorblind, where they don't see certain colors. Um, they could have gigantism, which makes them huge, but they like they have a bigger hitbox. So stuff like that. And that's the interesting thing about this game. It does stuff like that. I played the original. I'll be fair. The first time I played the original Rogue Legacy, I played with a trainer on because I found it really hard. And
Yeah.
I was just like, it's okay. It's one of those games that the central conceit is that it's really hard, not that it's a really great, great game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the problem with certain games. It's like they're only liked because they're hard. Like that's kind of I, that's kind of the problem I have with the Souls games. It's like, you know, it's they're only liked because they're hard. I don't really think they necessarily great. Sorry, I don't think they necessarily um play well as a third person action game.
Yeah, yeah. My personal issue with that game is just that Rogue Legacy and Rogue Legacy 2 is that there's a game that already had a high level of difficulty, but is also legitimately fun to play, which is what's the name of that game? Dead.
Dead
Dead.
Cells.
Dead Cells, yeah, Dead Cells. Dead
Yeah,
Cells is hard, but when you die in Dead Cells, it's because you sucked. You
yeah,
fucked up. You didn't
yeah,
meter out your health. Like Rogue Legacy and other games that are at Rogue Legacy's level, sometimes you die and it's not your fault. The game was like the difficulty ramped up in such a way that it was trying to kill you. Whereas in Dead Cells, like you die against a boss, you didn't follow this boss, you didn't do this, you didn't do that.
yeah.
So that's where I kind of have the issue. You know what I mean? But anything else you want to say before we move on to the next part of this?
Um, Hey, that's the thing about these indie showcases is they're gonna be hit or miss. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's
you
not going
know,
to be everything for you because
yeah,
indies cost less money to make, so people they can afford to be more niche. It's like an indie film costs less money to make, so some indie films are really fucking niche. I remember
yeah,
Yoko Ono made this independent film where all it was you saw a fly crawl over a woman's nude body.
yeah,
That was it. That was the film. Just a fly crawling over a nude woman's body. I mean, and I know what some people say. Well, I mean, it was a nude woman's body. Yeah, but it wasn't even like the way it was filmed. It wasn't even erotic. It was just, that woman really needs to knock that fly off her body. That's basically what it was. It wasn't like, oh, this is titillating and arousing. No, now it's like, lady, you need to get that fly off. Next they
So you're
showed
just so you're
what?
just watching. So the movie's just watching a
A
fly crawl
fly
around
crawl over her body. That's all it
it.
is. There's no dialogue. I think there's a little bit of atmospheric music, and that's all it is. It's uh,
Weird.
yeah, yeah. But here's the thing. There has to be because you also get some really good independent films, like that movie that basically just talks about like 3 years of this historic Mexican director's life. Was an independent movie, and it was shot in black and white, and it won an Oscar. That movie that won an Oscar a few years ago, where about that like that was about a transgender woman who, her significant other dies, and his family just treats her like absolute trash. And the struggle she goes through trying to get her life back together. It's a really good movie, independent. That movie that got overshadowed by Will Smith slapping the shit out of Chris Rock, where you had a deaf man win an Oscar. It's like that was an independent movie. So you kind of do, just like I equate the movie industry with the video game industry in some regards. You do need indies. Like I don't think you would get Pepper Grinder,
Yeah,
which to me, I know it might not be, but Pepper Grinder to me, I think I remember playing a demo of this years ago. Pepper Grinder feels like someone played what was the name of that game? Drill Dozer back in the day. And I always liked Drill Dozer.
yeah,
And for those of you who don't know, Drill Dozer was made by Game Freak, for the Game Boy Advance, and the central conceit of that game was that it used this gyroscopic thing inside of the cartridge that lets you tilt your controller in different ways, kind of like how in that Kirby tilt game. I mean that fucking tilt game on the Game Boy Advanced and WarioWare Twisted.
hmm,
Kind of like
yeah,
that. It used that same technology, but it actually had like you played this thief, who essentially had this mech that had a drill on the end of it, and you would go into a level, find three gears, and the gears basically made your your drill spin faster so you could get through tougher materials and move faster when you did it. And that was the game. And you played a thief that like stole shit, and you had to get the MacGuffins, and then occasionally you'd have a boss fight, and you could defeat certain enemies by unscrewing this massive screw in the back of their mechs and like take it apart. It was like wow, this is a really good game. Like that's why when it's a shame that Game Freak just does Pokemon games these days. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, then they Have a Nice Death. It's a roguelike where you play death and you murder the shit out of shit. Um,
Yeah.
this game to me feels like a kind of Dead Cells meets Hollow Knight,
Yeah.
but with a faster, more like it's got the speed in terms of combat of Dead Cells and the dark kind of not colored tone of Hollow Knight. And now we get to the stuff where I was just like, I don't really know what this is about. Dodon, which is from the French indie studio Un Je ne sais quoi.
Yeah.
Dodon is a immersive narrative experience starring Mimi, a woman who returns to her late grandmother's home where she used to spend every summer. You'll play as Mimi in past and present as you uncover family secrets and explore the French countryside. Dodon is coming to Switch in spring 2023. I mean, they really must have ran out of shit to show because this is.
Yeah.
they should have just put this in the sizzle reel.
Yeah.
Then they have Space for the Unbound, where you play a group of. It's a slice of life set in rural, in late 1990s rural Indonesia, and it looks like a kind of like a little beat 'em up and stuff. It looks kind of stupid, but then you see a part where some kid turns into a werewolf monster, and I'm like, oh shit, that's actually kind of interesting. So I thought this might be kind of stupid, but I mean this is probably coming to PC, so I'll probably get it on PC. Once Upon a Jester came to PC. I know because I saw it on sale on Steam. It's an adventure game where you play a jester solving puzzles. Think Scribblenauts or yeah, it's basically kind of like Scribblenauts, but a little bit more condensed down. Looks interesting. We got a dodgeball game. With like magic and shit. Looks interesting. There's no actual gameplay, just a lot of stylized footage. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Goodbye World. It's a retro-inspired puzzle platformer where you create games. Actually, this looks kind of interesting. The narrative is kind of interesting. Okay, I see what that is. You'll play a retro-inspired puzzle platformer on a handheld that resembles a Game Boy. Okay, so I see what they're doing here. It's a hybrid game. We've got Aka, where you play a little. Oh yeah, this is that game where you play a vet from this world war, but in a world of cute animals, and you're just trying to live your best life.
Yeah.
So actually, looking at this game, kind of like, but I didn't get that from the Nintendo Indie Showcase. I got this because I saw this on other things. I'm like, oh, this actually looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
Blanc is kind of like Two Brothers, but I hope not as dark, where you play as a white fawn and a black wolf cub, and y'all team up to get around the world, shit like that. So it's like Lost Vikings, but with only two characters.
Yeah.
Botany Manor, and it's a gardening game. Yeah. I mean, if you like stuff like that, I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of just like life
Niche,
games,
very
like
niche.
cozy games.
Yeah. We've got cook delicious South Indian dishes in Vinba. Actually, this looks kind of cool. But then again, I like cooking, so you got this husband and wife and their kid making food. That's kind of cool. It's set in the 80s.
Yeah.
Oni, Road to the Mightiest Oni is a 3D action adventure reminiscent of Dragon Quest. You play as a vengeful demon warrior who joins forces with a spirit to fight ancient demons. Both characters are controlled simultaneously, but you'll need to be okay. I see. This looks interesting, but I don't like that concept of both characters are controlled with only one Joy-Con controller. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Organize everyday objects a little to the left. Yeah. I don't like games like that because they feed my slight OCD.
Yeah.
Then we've got Coffee Talk, which is, I think it's already coming to PC or came to PC. I don't know. So we have a sizzle reel with WrestleQuest, which looks pretty cool. Wobble Dogs, Storyteller. I don't know what the hell that is. World of Horror, which looks interesting. Curse of the Sea Rats. See, the shit in the sizzle reel looks cooler than what they showed. Because
Yeah.
Curse of the Sea Rats is a Metroidvania where you have 3 different playable characters with their own unique abilities and shit.
Yeah.
Like little anthropomorphized rats. And Inscription, which has been taking the world by storm. Everyone says that that's a really good game. I don't know if that's true, but whatever.
What game is this?
Inscription?
Inscription?
Yeah,
I've
it's
never
that
heard
game.
of it.
It's like a duel. It's. Have you ever played Hand of Fate?
No.
Yeah, Hand of Fate is this game where essentially, like, the game is in 2 parts. You play this character who's moving, like an icon that's moving along a map, making narrative decisions to change which direction you go and shit like that. And you're also playing a card game against the dealer, the fate dealer, the Hand of Fate dealer, um, in order to get through the game. It's like a roguelike. But when you land in action stages, it like the game changes into like a simplified hack and slash action game. But the reason it's called Hand of Fate is because as the game goes along, you get you get cards which you can use in your hand to basically change the odds that you'll do well as you go through the overall game. Like, let's say you land on a bad thing and you have like the scenario that you land on in Hand of Fate is like, this soldier is really thirsty, he's dying of thirst, and you have fresh water. You can use the fresh water in your deck to help the soldier out, and they'll give you something, or they'll say, you helped me out, here's some money or whatever. That's what Hand of Fate is. And Hand of Fate 2. Hand of Fate's actually a pretty good game. It's astonishingly well made. It's one of those games that should be terrible, and the sequel's even better than the first one. Like, it should be a steaming pile of shit, but it's way better than it has any business being. Anyway, what was I saying? So yeah, the sizzle reel looks more interesting than the shit that's actually coming out. But
yeah, which doesn't make sense because it's like, why wouldn't the sizzle reel just be the main show? You know, it's like, why didn't you focus on those games?
man, what the fuck do they care? It's Nintendo. Like, okay, let me put it this way: the Switch, as I predicted, outsold the Wii. It is not. I don't think it's going to outsell. Like, if you consider the Switch is their most. I would say it's probably their most successful home console. If you consider the Switch a home console, I don't. I'm stacking it up against their handheld because most people use it as a handheld. I don't think it's going to crack over 155 million, which is what the DS did.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to hit that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely could. I definitely could see that.
It's
I
114.
understand that.
That's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to sneeze at. You know, if
Yeah.
I had a device that had an install base of like once the Switch is probably out, it'll probably be like I want to say 124, 125, maybe 130. That is pretty damn respectable. You know, and that's just you getting your foot in the door. That's not including all the people buying software for the damn thing.
Yeah.
So why the fuck has Nintendo made all this money and their online is so shit? I'll never understand. But I'm not gonna get into that. Next topic. Or anything you want to add before we wrap things up?
Um. No. No, I'm good.
All right. So I thought we'd take a look at the games that are going to come out till the end of the year. I will screen share it so everyone can see it. So yeah, I just said November, December, and I guess we can look at the to be announced thing. So as we all know, Call of Duty Warzone has been a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Like they'll add a feature, find out it's broken, take it away. I mean, I don't know what the hell was going on over there, but Jesus, it's been a nightmare over there, a damn nightmare. Um, then we've got Warhammer 40K Dark Tide. Um, it's basically Warhammer Call of Duty. I mean Warhammer Gears of War.
Yeah. I was. I, I haven't seen a trailer for it, but I mean, I remember that teaser trailer they showed a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Do they have gameplay footage of it?
I
I'll have to
mean,
check it out.
I think they have let me I can go to Steam. Steam has a trailer.
Power systems failure thanks to a bit of hair today. Something exploded.
Oh man, this game looks pretty good.
I'm interested in trying out Warhammer game that came out several years ago. That was kind of like Gears of War.
Vermintide.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of like the third game in that series. There's Vermintide, Vermintide 2, and now this. Yeah, it looks interesting. The thing is, I don't really like Warhammer because it's just a little too, what's the word I'm looking for? Racist. It's too racist.
Oh.
Eh. Because you have to realize Warhammer takes place in a dark imperial fascist society where there are no
Yeah.
good guys. And the characters who you think are the bad guys, the orcs are actually the only ones who are still true to their purpose because they were made to fight the forces of chaos and evil.
Yeah.
The humans have fucked up. The elves are fucked up. The dwarves, everyone else is fucked up except for the orcs. And everyone hates
That's
the
funny.
orcs. Yeah. Yeah, it looks interesting. Um, I probably won't get it because it is squad based, and I don't really like squad based games because you gotta have a full group of people to play it.
Yeah.
Oh, and of course they're talking about the 2023 preview for the PC gaming show. How the hell are you talking about the preview? It's 2023. Shit, why are you talking about it now?
Yeah. It's like we're months and months away from that.
Well, let's see. It's November now. We're at least, let's see, November, December, January, February, March. We're at least 5 months away from it.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I just needed something to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I got Forspoken, which I don't know. The more I see about that game, the more I'm like, hey, it could be good. We've got
Yeah.
Octopath Traveler 2. Oh shit, it's coming to PC too? Oh shit! That means I don't have to get that shit on the Switch. That means I can download a trainer for it.
Oh, is that coming day and date?
I don't know. It says it's coming out February 24th, 2023. So that means I'm gonna get it on PC because Octopath Traveler, I enjoyed the first game, but playing it on PC where I can just have all the money in order to buy the best shit early on instead of grinding, like it takes a lot of the unnecessary grinding out. You still have to grind in order to get job points in order to level up your job classes, but it's not nearly as, you know.
Yeah.
Dwarf Fortress. Street Fighter 6. Yeah. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'm kind of looking forward to that game.
Yeah.
Not the actual gameplay. I'm just looking forward to going around Metro City.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Metro City, you're back. They finally want to fucking acknowledge that Street Fighter and Final Fight take place in the same universe. I wonder if you'll be able to run into Mike Hagger's gym. It's like, what are you doing here? It's like, what are you going to teach us to do? I'm going to teach you the joy of knocking over trash cans and eating the food inside of that. There's a new Xenoclash game coming out. It looks kind of interesting. I'm going to add that to my wish list. Okay, apparently I can't. There's Superfuse, which is it's that game about corporations that essentially create their own superhumans and then send them to fight other people. Interesting. Let's see. Oh shit, Gunbrella.
Bro, yeah. Yeah. They showed that earlier this year at the Nintendo Direct. That would look interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a sucker for cell shaded graphics. So if you have cell shaded graphics, I'm like, well, I like that shit. I like cell shaded graphics. Open world. Is that open world though? Is Octopath Traveler 2 an open world game? I don't think it is.
I don't know.
They put it there, but I don't know if it is. Okay, let me stop screen sharing. All right. So anyway, I think we've discussed that far enough. Okay then. Let's see. Sonic Frontiers came out yesterday. Uh, how do you feel about that?
It looks interesting. Definitely probably get it on a deep sale. Because it's kind of busted. It's kind of busted.
I mean, the game looks amazing. Like
Yeah.
how they have kind of like an open world you can explore as Sonic, shit like that. It's weird looking enemies and shit. Looks interesting. Um, they've got fishing and I mean, looks like stuff going on. Right now I'm seeing on Steam it has very positive reviews. So 93% of the 2,500 users say that they like it. So that kind of gives me a little bit more hope because only a fan would buy this shit.
Yeah.
Okay, random people wouldn't buy this.
Yeah.
So it might, hey, as long as it's not a broken piece of shit like Sonic 06. Then it's good. Anyway. let's keep on moving. Let's keep on pushing it down. And of course, November 18th, we have Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Yay! Miles Morales.
One character that nobody cares about.
Well,
Or
I don't
people-
I don't give a shit about him, but I know some people do. So I'm not gonna shit on the people who like Miles Morales. I just don't give a fuck about him. Like if Miles Morales was a person and someone said, "Hey, help," like, how can I put this? I don't give a fuck about Miles Morales because I know who the character is, and he hasn't really done anything of note in his comics. Now, that's not the character's fault. That's just the people who are writing him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, because he originally started out as this other Spider-Man in the Ultimate Spider-Man universe. And then when they killed off Peter Parker in the Ultimate Universe, he took up the mantle of being Spider-Man. But here's the thing. He's a very uninteresting, like, aside from him being part Puerto Rican and part Dominican and a person of color, there's nothing really interesting about him as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, and part of that could be just because of shitty writing.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I can really say. Part of it is probably because of shitty writing. So not really looking forward to playing Miles Morales. Plus his power set's a little bit different. Like he's got this electric shock shit he can do, which is kind of kind of weird. The game I'm looking forward to the most, I'm looking forward to Goat Simulator, Tactics Ogre Reborn, Harvestella. Might get that game. Evil West, which is a $50 game. It's a $50 game, single player, third person beat 'em up, where it's vampires versus what was it? Vampires versus cowboys versus vampires.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. That sounds like that game Dark Horizon. From back in the day on the PS2.
Yeah.
Looks like a spiritual successor to that game. Then we've got Goat Simulator 3, which, I mean, it's Goat Simulator. But I'm not, like, it's an Epic Store exclusive. I will not be getting it on the Epic Game Store because I try, like, I have to really like a game in order to get it on the Epic Game Store. Or the studio making that game. And frankly speaking, I don't really give a shit about like Goat Simulator is fun to watch people play. It's not something I'd really want to play myself, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course we've got Harvestella, which, Jesus Christ, Square Enix had the nerve to charge people $60 for this game. This game should be no more than 60. I mean, no more than 50. 50 is a little too high. I will wait for there to be a sale.
Yeah, that's too much money.
You know, and now if it was 50, I'd be like, I'll take that hit. 60, it's a little bit too high. I'll wait for there to be a sale, or if it's like goes down to like $52.99 or some shit like that. And of course, Sonic Frontiers. Yeah, I'll probably get Evil West because Evil West is a $50 game.
Yeah.
I don't mind taking that hit. And if you pre-order it, you get like some cool shit in there. I'll probably pre-order this game just to say I supported the cause. Anyway, yeah, so there's some good shit out there. It's just, Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. Black Panther 2 versus Black Adam. Now, I have not seen Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. I did see
Yeah.
Black Adam, and I've talked to people who have seen Black Panther 2, and they say it's a really good movie. They say that it's like seeing Black Adam and Wakanda Forever. It's like they're two films that are diametrically opposed to one another.
Yeah.
Because Black Adam is using a script from 2005 that had very little punch-ups in the 17 years since it's been made. So it feels
Yeah.
like some shit from 2005. Whereas Black Panther Wakanda Forever actually feels very modern and deals with some like grief and getting over things and, you know, grief and healing and shit like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like it. I'm hoping it's going to be good. I brought this topic up just to talk a little bit of shit about Black Adam. So, The Rock, The Rock is desperately wanted people to like he wants to be he wants Black Adam to be the face of the DC cinematic universe, and I'm like, bitch, please.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right,
really.
but that belongs to love or hate the Nolan movies. I think that pretty much belongs to Batman.
Yeah, Batman and Superman. Because when people think
Batman,
DC, they think Batman and Superman.
Well, I mean, when it comes to the cinematic universe.
Well, no, the cinematic universe is going to be. That's why the cinematic universe is such in shambles, because, like, you have the Zack Snyder fans, and then you have everyone else is like, we're tired of that grimdark shit.
Yeah.
So, like, they're going to have to rebuild that entire franchise from the ground up, and I don't think they can do it. I don't think they have the talent. I don't think they have the skill.
Yeah.
Do you?
Maybe as far as it's gone for the past, I don't know, these practically 20 years. I mean, they would definitely be hard to just start all over again. You know.
I mean, I agree with that, but I mean, you also have to factor in that, okay, they have the perfect vehicle to reboot all this shit and still keep it in universe. Do a reshoot for Flashpoint, for that new movie with fucking Ezra Miller's crazy ass. Okay, like just a scene at the end where he goes back to fix everything and he takes off the mask and it's a new person playing the Flash. And the world is different because even though he did his best, he still fucked it up because that's what the Flash does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's how you fix it. It's like, oh yeah, Superman's not. Oh no. Like you can have Henry Cavill come back and be like, oh yeah, I grew up on a farm and my parents taught me that I had to stand up to, I had to do my best to help my fellow man. How'd your father die? Oh, I thought your father died in a tornado. Oh no, my father had a heart attack. Like they could change all that shit, and the fans would be like, well, okay, and the Zack Snyder fans would go fuck off, okay, which is what they need to do.
Yeah.
I want Superman because the reason we got grimdark Superman was because, and a selfish grimdark Superman was because Zack Snyder thought it was unrealistic to have a truly altruistic character in the DC cinematic universe, which just shows how much of a piece of shit Zack Snyder is.
But that's the point. That's kind of the point of Superman, though.
What?
The ideal hero. That's at least.
Well, I mean, that's how he's been lately.
Superman.
Yeah, that's how he's been lately. Here's the thing: there's different ages of Superman. The original age of Superman's original costume was not what the iconic, blue, red, and yellow with all that stuff. That came later. Originally, Superman looked kind of like Shazam.
Yeah.
And he didn't have like this huge power set that he has now. Like Basically, he could leap tall buildings with a single bound. He was faster than a locomotive. More powerful than a locomotive, faster than a speeding bullet. That was it.
Yeah.
That was his power set. And then later on, as they needed more convenient ways for him to do things, they just ascribed any ability that they could add super to, they gave to him. So he had super breath, super speed. He was super strong, like that type of thing.
Yeah.
But the original Superman was kind of a dick. Like the original Superman, like glorified and like the original Superman was like, oh, this woman is a Black Widow. She marries men and then murders them for their money. Yeah, well, like as Superman, he would stop her from murdering her next paramour, and then as Clark Kent, he would deliver the evidence that got her sent to the death, got her the death penalty, and then be like, yeah, well, she's going to the gas chamber now. Like that's how old Superman was, way back in the day. It isn't until you reach the Silver Age where Superman became the truth, justice, and American way, like the radio things in the 30s and the 40s, where Superman became as we know him, where he's like, where he fought the Klan. Superman fought the Klan and beat their asses. Like, that's a Silver Age Superman. That's a Superman. And then Superman got kind of silly in the 60s and the 70s, where like he fought Muhammad Ali and got his ass kicked. He got his ass kicked by Muhammad Ali. Yeah. Yeah, he depowered and had a boxing match with Muhammad Ali and got the shit kicked out. No, Superman really doesn't really come back into prominence until you get the 78 Superman movie with Christopher Reeves, where you essentially had Christopher Reeves play him as aw shucks farm boy, who on the surface, because that's his identity, who just like, for like the way Christopher Reeves played Superman is the way the character has been portrayed ever since then, when done well, is I'm a farm boy from Kansas and I was raised to help out my fellow man. It's just my ability to help out my fellow man is a little bit fucking higher than just a normal person. That's Superman.
Yeah.
And personally speaking, I've always liked that interpretation of the character.
Yeah.
Because it's like Superman's like, look, like Superman, that interpretation of Superman is like, you're a criminal, and like you're doing wrong, but I'm not gonna kill you or hurt you. I'm gonna take your ass to jail, and hopefully you'll learn your lesson and be a better person.
Yeah.
Which is in stark contrast to Batman, who like the DC cinematic universe Batman, he fucking beat up a dude and threw him in jail in front of his daughter on his day off. I'm like, and this is a character we're supposed to root for?
Yeah.
Cause that's not cool. So yeah, Black Adam, I don't know if they can fix I don't know if they can fix the DC cinematic universe. I don't know.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. Many people would have to admit that they're wrong, that they were wrong about a lot of stuff.
Oh, they got fired. All the people who were wrong got fired, and now we have David Zaslav desperately trying to hold together this shit pile that is Warner Brothers Discovery. You know what the irony is, though? The biggest irony is that Walter Hamada, the guy who they fired, they're like, you're the reason. Actually, the only really good movies that have come out under the DC label were under his watch. Aquaman, Shazam, Matt Reeves' The Batman, The Joker. All those movies came out under his watch.
Yeah.
The shit that he had to fall on the sword for shit he had no control over.
Yeah.
Oh well. So anything else you want to add before we move on to the next topic?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right, keeping it moving to the next topic, which is here's a little thing. So remember Mick Gordon, the Doom Eternal composer, where all that shit came out, where it was like, oh well, this happened and that happened, and so did this, and etc. 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 etc.
What happened? I didn't know about the Doom Eternal drama.
Yeah, there was this Doom Eternal drama where they were like, okay, so I'll read it out for you. Okay, more than 2 years after its public falling out with Bethesda Softworks, Doom Eternal composer Mick Gordon has issued a lengthy and detailed statement on his side of the dispute. Gordon claims he was the target of unfair and dishonest behavior on id Software's part, perpetrated primarily by Doom Eternal executive producer Marty Stratton, but defends his commitment to the game, saying, "I never quit Doom, I quit a toxic client." Cracks in the surface first appeared following the release of the official Doom Eternal OST in April 2020. The audio quality was dodgy, and Gordon quickly revealed that he had not mixed most of the tracks. He also expressed doubt at the time that he'd work with Bethesda again. It was a very surprising statement in light of his long and seemingly successful relationship with the studio across games, including the 2016 Doom reboot. That's debatable. The Wolfenstein reboot, also debatable, and Prey. Here's all I'm going to say about that. I'm going to add my thing. I thought his take on the Doom songs in the reboot of Doom were shit.
I thought they fit the kind of game that they were going for. It's not a soundtrack I'd listen to outside of its context, but I thought it was. I mean, obviously, compared to the MIDI soundtrack you heard when you were
Exactly.
a kid, it's definitely not going to match. It's not going to compete. But
that's.
I thought it fit.
Well, the thing is, Mick, because I've heard Mick Gordon's take on, Mick Gordon also did a lot of the soundtrack work for Killer Instinct, and I think his take on the main theme is trash. But some of his reinterpretations of Cinder's theme, his version of Cinder's theme, I prefer over the original.
Yeah.
But it's like if I'm playing Doom, any Doom, in my opinion, if I'm playing the theme for E1 L1, that should fit my first-person shooter. If I'm playing a Doom-style first-person shooter, if that shit doesn't fit, the pacing of your game is trash.
Yeah.
But that's my personal opinion. So he's like, yeah, it was successful. That's debatable, but I'll let him have it. In May, Stratton posted an open letter on Reddit in which he praised Gordon as a composer, but portrayed him as unreliable and difficult to work with. He said Gordon could not meet the OST deadline he'd agreed to, and that a 2-month extension granted at his request wasn't sufficient either, forcing id Software to give responsibility for it to lead audio designer Chad Mossholder. Stratton said his Reddit statement was prompted by direct and personal attacks made by Gordon against Mossholder, and while he wished Gordon well, added that Bethesda and id Software would not be working with him on any Doom Eternal DLC. Gordon declined to comment at the time, but today's statement paints a very different picture than the one presented by Stratton. In it, Gordon disputes much of Stratton's 2020 message, saying that Stratton lied about the circumstances surrounding the Doom Eternal soundtrack and used disinformation and innuendo to unfairly blame him for its failure. Marty's Reddit post severely impacted both my professional and personal reputation. In releasing this statement, I'm exercising my right to defend myself. It is a defense, not an unprovoked attack, issued with extreme reluctance only after all other attempts to resolve the matter have failed. Gordon also called on his fans and followers to not respond with abusive behavior toward anyone involved. This statement is not an excuse for hate campaign. Acts of hate dished out online won't result in any positive change. In fact, it only makes things worse. After
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, yeah, basically. Not unless you're a comedian and you're really good at zinging people. Then it's just funny. After explaining the nature of his employment, Stratton is not an employee of id Software or Bethesda, but an independent contractor. And his work, Stratton stated that he encountered a number of difficulties while composing for Doom Eternal, including a tight deadline, lack of direction, and supporting materials, slow communication, and multiple interruptions. The schedule was a masterpiece in Excel, but a disaster in reality. That sounds like Bethesda and id and ZeniMax. Gordon wrote, but efforts to come up with something more workable went badly. He said that Stratton rejected his criticism of the schedule and characterized it as a sign of incompetence. This was very near the start of the project, and according to Gordon, things grew worse as development continued. Gordon alleges that he worked for months-long stretches, nearly a full year at one point, without being paid, and that he was not aware of the plan to release an official soundtrack until it was announced in E3 in 2019. Crunch, he says, was brutal for him and id Software both. Gordon speculated that one of the reasons there was no proper strategy for the OST release is that id Software was stretched thin by the overwhelming push to make the November 22nd release date and had no real capacity to deal with the other problems looming. I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that, because knowing how fucking badly Bethesda and id and ZeniMax was run makes perfect sense to me. Doom Eternal was eventually released to acclaim, but Gordon said he still had no contract for the soundtrack. He claims that when the OST was delayed in March 2020, he still hadn't been offered a contract to do the job. Stratton eventually revealed to Gordon that id Software had been working on an alternative OST for at least 6 months prior to the contract offer, which Gordon said finally arrived just 2 days ahead of Doom Eternal's release. Last-minute efforts to collaborate on the project failed, at which point Stratton decided that Mossholder's work would be released. I could have protested, but it wouldn't have done any good, Gordon wrote. Under the contract, Marty was guaranteed veto power and complete creative control. Ultimately, I'm just a contractor. It's their product, and they govern every aspect. I voiced my anxieties over Mossholder's edits and hope they had improved since the week before. I said they should ensure the album adheres to the mastering standards and provided specific details in that regard. Ultimately, Bethesda confirmed that Gordon had met his contractual obligations and paid him what he was owed. But Gordon took serious issue with the state of the OST, which he said was full of real, obvious technical faults, mistakes, and errors resulting from careless editing. But the worst thing, he said, was discovering that the OST included a massive amount of music for which he had not been played, including rejected tracks, demos, sketches, and mock-ups. That led to a call between Gordon and Stratton, during which Gordon said he and Stratton agreed to release a joint statement on fixing the OST problems. Shortly thereafter, however, Stratton posted his open letter on Reddit, which blamed the troubles on Gordon. So they kicked you down a flight of steps in order to make themselves look good. Shame.
Yeah, typical. A lot of these entertainment. I tell you, the entertainment industry needs a
Enema.
needs some kind of reckoning.
It needs an enema. This town needs an
Needs an
enema.
enema,
That's
too.
from
Yeah.
the first Tim Burton's Batman. I was horrified, Gordon wrote, not just at Marty turning his back on what was our agreed path forward, but also at his shameless disregard for the truth in this attack. The Reddit post was littered with lies, disinformation, which directly contradicted the actual events and contractual clauses. Lawyers became involved and settlement offers were allegedly exchanged. Gordon says he was offered a 6-figure sum in exchange for taking responsibility for the problems with the soundtrack, which he declined, while his offer to produce a proper OST was hung up on Stratton's refusal to take down the Reddit post, which his lawyer said would reflect poorly on his reputation, which basically means he knew he lied, and if he took it down, Bethesda and id would have had to take the hit. And saying that game was rushed out. And as we all know, Doom Eternal had a lot of technical issues at launch, because they fucking added that online co-op mode that no one fucking wanted. No one wanted a fucking co-op mode in that game, and that was resources that could have been put towards other shit.
Who wants a who in the heck thought a co-op mode in Doom would be a good idea?
Well, the original Doom had it, but it was you have to remember, the original Doom had it, but the original Doom was like, there was nothing else like it. If you want a Doom-like experience, there's so much other shit coming out now.
Yeah.
You know, focus on what you're good at and make that shit razor focused. Okay, so basically, here's what Gordon Mick Gordon had to say. Tired of having his reputation called into question by Stratton's open letter, he said incidences of online abuse escalated at an alarming rate following the post. Gordon eventually had the post taken down himself by way of a sympathetic Doom subreddit mod. That apparently ended any hope of reaching an agreement, as Stratton's lawyers allegedly then told Gordon that Stratton was greatly offended and furious over the post's removal and made it clear in the strongest terms that an amicable resolution would be impossible. Gordon said Stratton's reaction put him in a position where his only option was to make a public statement in order to repair his reputation. Marty couldn't accept that I never wanted to work with him again and made his best attempt to send my career into a nosedive as punishment. He resorted to lies and innuendo that fell apart under the most basic level of scrutiny, then tried to bury the issue under a stack of cash. Using NDA settlements and gag orders of silent truth is an appalling tactic used by people in high positions of power fearful of accountability. I am choosing to speak out because the alternative was to accept that tactic is okay. As fans of both Mick Gordon and Doom, I'm sad to see that the relationship between them has gone so badly. There's clearly an animus here that goes way beyond disagreement over creative direction. Gordon said his statement doesn't reflect the overwhelmingly positive, successful relationships he's had with many people in studios under the ZeniMax umbrella, and that the projects and people he worked with remain dear to his heart. But it appears clear that the relationship between Gordon and Stratton is broken on a much deeper level, and it seems that Gordon's prediction that he won't ever work with Bethesda again is likely to hold. I reached out to Bethesda for a comment on Gordon's statement and will update if I have if I receive a reply. I don't know, man. What do you think?
That's pretty crazy. This is the second story that come out this year, because you had that one by Yuji Naka with Square Enix, and then we have this story about what's going on with Doom Eternal. Doom's a pretty big franchise. Yuji Naka is a pretty well-known name in gaming. So, is it a possibility that within the next few years we'll just see more people like that come out about?
Probably, but I have a caveat to add. Doom was a big franchise. Doom hasn't been big for years. Even like Doom 2016 was a reboot, and everyone's like, "It's so revolutionary! It's fucking Metroid Prime."
It's Metroid Prime with Doom elements.
It's M-rated Metroid Prime. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I first played it, a few years ago. It's like, yeah, this is just dark Metroid Prime.
It's grimdark Metroid Prime, yeah. And Doom Eternal is essentially the same thing, except they added an unnecessary fucking multiplayer campaign.
Yeah.
And level build, and the level builder, like the reason the level builder was unnecessary was because they made the level builder, they dumbed down the level builder so that it could work for console players who weren't gonna fucking make levels in the first goddamn place. It should have just been like, okay, the level building, it's only for PC players, because they're the only ones who have the tools to really build the levels properly.
Yeah.
But yeah, none of those. And here's the thing: like they're like, oh well, Wolfenstein. Oh, you mean the first Wolfenstein reboot, which people loved because it had been a long time since. But by the third Wolfenstein game, people hated that third Wolfenstein game. Yeah. The one where you've got two of B.J. Blazkowicz's daughters.
Yeah.
Like people legit hate that game.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to say except
people were not. That game was less than stellar, that's for sure.
Yeah, Doom, like, okay, the idea behind Doom Eternal is awesome. The execution was less than stellar.
Yeah.
For me, I don't like the pacing of the new Doom. Like I said, it feels like I'm playing an M-rated Metroid Prime game, but Metroid Prime is an adventure game first-person shooter second.
Yeah.
Whereas Doom should be a first-person shooter first, adventure game second.
Yeah.
I knew when they added that shit with a fucking grappling hook. I'm like, y'all just stole all the Metroid Prime shit, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all must have sat down in a room just playing Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And then to hear these fucking Doom fanboys, it's a brilliant. We've never played a first person shooter like this. It's like, really? Y'all just haven't been playing shit, huh? Just the same
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. It's like we haven't. I mean, we've been doing this for a while, guys. They just added a fantasy element to it.
Yeah. I mean, and technically speaking, it's not even fantasy. It's literally the game. They just use technology. It's like we use technology to open the gate into hell. Oh, that couldn't. Nothing could go wrong from that. I mean, it's just shit. I'm sorry. It's. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
It is not what it used to be. That's all I'm gonna say. id Software. What they need to do is go back to the fucking drawing board and unleash and release a new Unreal game. Or no, sorry, that's Epic. Epic holds the rights to that. They need to unleash a new go back to the drawing board and do a new Doom game, but I got a good idea. Do a new Doom game, but instead of like revamping it, just say like just have the original Doom guy who fought his way into hell. He comes back. That's it. He's just murdering more demons. See, that's where Doom Eternal and the Doom 2016 reboot fucked up. You guys are making the shit too complicated. It's a space marine who decides someone opens a gateway to a portal to hell, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do what I was trained to do: improvise, adapt, and overcome."
Yeah.
With lots and lots of guns. That's it. That's all you need. Like, stop trying to do all this weird shit. Be like the Everest Institute guy. Why are you making it complicated?
And that's the thing about the Doom Eternal is there's like so much lore, but it's really unnecessary to
It's
pay
fluff.
attention to.
Yeah, it's unnecessary fluff. It's like, oh, well, this deep lore. It's like, you don't need it, dude. Look, Space Marine on Mars. Scientists open a portal to hell. Demons come out, infect a whole bunch of other people, drag people through the portal. Space Marine survives, and now he's gonna kill a lot of demons. That's it. Why you gotta make it complicated?
Yeah.
Just the first level. Okay, you could have that Mick Gordon shit that he thought was awesome and everyone loved. And then as soon as you get the super shotgun, it plays the E1, L1 music, and you just go around killing shit. That's it. Why do you gotta... It's Doom. That's where Doom 3 fucked up. They're like, we're going to make a horror game. No! Doom is a power fantasy. Because if real demons came, if demons actually existed, earthly weapons probably wouldn't do shit to them. It's a power fantasy because a dude has normal weapons and he's murdering the shit out of demons.
Yeah.
That's the power fantasy of it. Matter of fact, that's the one cool thing I can say about the new Doom, about Doom Eternal, is that the Doom guy, because apparently the Doom guy in Doom Eternal is supposed to be the Doom guy from the original Dooms. The Doom guy you play in 2016 is not the same Doom guy from 2019. The Doom guy in 2019 in Doom Eternal is supposedly the Doom guy from the first two games. Apparently, that dude was so good at killing demons that when he got to hell, they trapped him and locked him away because he wouldn't stop killing demons. That's which I think is a really interesting concept. It's like he gets out, he's like, more demons. It's like, that's his high. He doesn't snort cocaine. He's not after women. He just likes killing demons. That's his thing. which is why I'm not a fan, because if you play Doom Eternal at a certain frame rate, listening to the Doom theme, the OG Doom 1 theme, it really fits. It's like he can't stop killing demons. He won't stop killing demons. Demons like, help, send reinforcements. He killed all of them. Oh no, he's coming. want to reverse the rules.
Yeah.
Please open the door. Oh shit! Ah! Anyway, back to what I was saying. Yeah, the Doom Eternal composer. I'm glad he finally got it out. What probably really happened is that his probably his DNR probably came out. His what's it called? His fucking you know what I'm talking about. The you know, the thing they signed so that they won't tell people what they did.
Yeah.
That probably came out. And they were like, oh, well, now you can tell the truth. And it's like, okay. Sorry, NDA, non-disclosure agreement, not DNR. That's do not resuscitate. That's what you give grandma when she's in hospice and she's tired of being in pain.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do I think? I think that it's not surprising that this shit happened. Everyone knows that Bethesda and ZeniMax and id have been run like a shit show for the last few years. That's why they keep on re-releasing fucking Skyrim. They charge people $70. They charge people $70 for Skyrim on the Switch. If you want the base anniversary edition, like how the fuck you could screw your mouth up to tell someone $70 for that piece of shit? I'll never understand.
Yeah, you're ripping yourself off if you're buying it on the Switch.
Yeah,
but you can run that game on a Steam Deck.
Yeah, if you get it on PC where you can download mods and make it run better and you know make it play better and run better, then do it. But if you got that shit vanilla for the Switch, I'm sorry. I know people say we shouldn't talk about the gamers, but I'm gonna talk about the gamers. You are stupid as shit if you got Skyrim on the Switch.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You are dumb as fuck, okay? Because basically, you paid, especially if you got the anniversary edition, you paid $70 for the most inferior version of the fucking game.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's like there being 3-4 dealerships near you, and all of them are selling the same Mustang, but at different prices. And you bought the one that they told you was a lemon for literally 20% more than it was worth.
Yeah.
And bragging about it. Yeah, I got it. I bought it here. It's like, but it's the worst version of the game. I like the portability. No, that's a terrible reason to buy something. But anyway, I guess we got enough time to do unpopular opinion / hot take. Do you have an unpopular opinion / hot take? Something you want to share? Something you're like, I gotta say this.
Yeah, I saw a video today on Japanese animation, and boy, it's pretty terrible how they treat their animators.
Oh yeah,
over there in Japan.
Oh yeah,
pretty bad.
Oh yeah,
it's like holy shit, you guys aren't paying these people a living. You're telling me that somebody who works at fast food over here in this country is making more than somebody who works on animation in Japan. That's pretty crazy.
The thing, because basically, and that's if you're in Japan. You think it's bad in Japan? Most of those studios farm the shit out to third world countries, second world countries, where in Japan they farm it out to like anime studios in Indonesia and Thailand, where those people are paid even less. It's fucked up, man. It is seriously fucked up. And really, I think if there were stronger worker protections in Japan, which they're supposed to be, but money talks and bullshit walks. If they had a stronger guild, anime drawers, inkers, and writers guild, if they fucking said we ain't doing shit for 3 months,
Yeah, man,
until we get our demands met.
I mean, some of those animators make at least only $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
A lot of those people live in like, your big Japanese cities, which are pretty expensive to live in.
That's why they have those little apartments where it's like a little cubby hole, like where they keep cadavers in hospitals, and they got like a little TV in there, and then they have to share a communal bathroom. Being a mangaka, there's a reason that parents in Japan tell their children don't be a mangaka, because the money is like it's first of all, it's bad for your health because they can't eat good food, they're not living healthy, it's fucking terrible on your body. I mean, just like when the comic book industry was crashing years ago in like the 60s and in the 50s, like those people weren't paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
The hope is that you would work on a successful IP and hope that maybe you could license it out, and that's where you would make your money.
Yeah.
But we know manga's been getting bigger and becoming more worldwide. So where's the fucking money going?
the manga is out. Manga is out doing American comic books.
Yeah.
Oh man, like I was watching that video and I was thinking of some of my favorite anime. And it's like, man, these people got probably got paid shit. And,
they're getting shafted. Yeah, they're getting shafted. Well, I mean, if you want to be happy with Tezuka Takashi. Tezuka Takashi is the guy who created the modern pipeline for cheap animation. Basically, by getting young people who want to be in the industry and paying them basically cents for the dollar. For every dollar work they did, they maybe made 5 or 6 cents. And grinding that out. Yeah, Tezuka Takashi. Yeah. Because really, like, for me personally, I think what would be a good equitable solution to this would be to just charge more for manga and anime.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be just a 30% increase. Like if a Viz graphic novel for volume 1 or whatever is like right now $9.99, just kick it up to $15. $14.99. $14.99, and then take that $5 and give it to the fucking, divide that up amongst the people who actually fucking, on top of what they're already getting paid, to the people who actually did the work. But these corporations ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, and it was like, a lot. Anime is a billion-dollar industry. It's more popular than ever.
Multi-billion.
Multi-billion dollar.
Yeah, multi-billion.
Yeah. And animation is no easy feat.
No, it's not.
You're
especially if it's hand drawn.
Shit on these people.
Yeah, if it's hand drawn animation, it's definitely not an easy feat, and a lot of the animation still is. Like, even if it's CGI, there's still a lot of hand drawn stuff going on, like for concepts and stuff like that. And these people don't get paid. There's a reason that the guy who does Yu Yu Hakusho does a lot of that shit by himself. And it takes so long for new shit to come out. It's the reason why it took so long, because he got injured and he couldn't move. And this dude, he and his wife made it. His wife made Sailor Moon, and he made Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
So, like, they have some of the most popular, like, they're still getting those residuals.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, fuck it. It's like, think about that.
Yeah, it's like, you're probably only making $20,000 to $30,000 as an animator, and
that's higher up. If you're just getting started, you might make $10,000, the equivalent of $10,000 to $12,000 a year.
And you're working on projects that are probably making millions.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, Dragon Ball Z or something like that.
Because you have to factor in, not only do they get the magazine deals where they have to produce enough content to get to be printed into the shonen, the Jump magazines. Okay, depending on what manga, because there's mangas for adults too, like slice of life TV shows. I mean, slice of life shit where it's like a guy just traveling around Japan eating food. You also have to factor in, like, here's where the people at the bottom are getting fucked, because they aren't getting any of those residuals for licensing.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they got 0.003% of a $10 million contract, that's still a hefty amount of money.
Yeah.
That's at least 3,000. Let me do the method, the calculations. Let's see. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, you have a team of let me look this shit up. Calculator. You have, let's say you get a licensing deal for 30 million. I know it's yen, but I'm gonna use 30 million because yen is really fucking hard to convert. Okay, 30 million. Okay, and you basically give each. Let's say you have 20 people in your studio inking that anime.
Yeah.
So you essentially give all those people 0.003%. That's $90,000.
Yeah.
Those people would be set. They'd be set. You say, hey, $90,000. All you guys, here's $90,000. They'd be good. Like, okay, fair enough. You're only giving them $1,000 a month. That's you can't live off of that. But then you license it out. You got a small licensing deal. You give all of them $90,000. You take the rest of the money. You reinvest it in the studio. You're good.
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck? Like, I don't know what's so difficult about that. But capitalism.
Yeah.
Everyone's always like, oh, capitalism, it's great. Capitalism, uncontrolled capitalism is the fucking devil.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a good free topic. You have any? Oh, I have a quick free topic. I am tired. I am like, this is something that Strauss Zelnick said, the CEO of Take-Two. He said, we will delay a game. We will delay a game if it doesn't meet our standards. I'm like, clearly that didn't work because you guys put out the definitive edition of GTA and that shit was trash.
No, nobody went behind him and knocked him on the head or something. It's like,
he's the big boss. They can't do it. They should have. Someone should have been like, someone should have stood up when he said that. You're a liar. You're a goddamn liar. To his face, you lying piece of shit.
Somebody should have just yelled as loud as they could. You're a fucking liar, and you know it.
You're a goddamn fucking liar. Oh yeah, we'll hold back if we don't think it's good. Clearly, no one thought that with that shit. And here's the sad thing: I have seen fan-made things where people are, where they basically did a proof of concept remake of like Grove Street, CJ's house in GTA San Andreas, and the shit looks amazing. Why couldn't we get that? Nah, we got this sorry ass bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay, I know tonight has been a tough night for a lot of people. Week's been here. It's election season. But I do have some game-related things to do, okay? To announce before we end it out. So, this is a Generation Z, younger than us. A bilingual Democrat of Puerto Rican, Lebanese, and Haitian descent was elected to Florida's 10th district. His name is Maxwell Alejandro Frost. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because he is a huge fan of Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts. I wouldn't have voted for him just for that shit. No, I don't live in Florida. I don't. But I was like, God damn. Kingdom Hearts. I hate Kingdom Hearts so much. So goddamn much. But hey, you know, it's good. It's good to see that you have younger people coming into stuff like that. So that means when laws will be passed to regulate it, you'll have people who can actually fucking understand it and not just be like, well, no regulation whatsoever, because that's exactly what we need: an unregulated industry that, or so lightly regulated that regulations aren't even really enforced. Kind of like over there in Japan with their anime industry. Um, So, see, I brought it back around. So with that being said, that's the end of the cast. Anything you want to pimp out, Kenoshi?
Yeah, Project Console, 7:30 Tuesdays. Took the night off last night, but we'll be back next Tuesday.
Okay. Be there or be square, suckers. This is Mr. Red
Yep.
Fox, owner, proprietor, BS Busters. Yeah, so my schedule is going to change in the next, like, 2 weeks or so, where, I'm just going to be working 8 hours, but it's, like, from 12 noon to, like, 9 o'clock at night. So, with that being said, I might be able to do a podcast on Saturdays, but it's going to be really fucking late at night. So let me know, viewers, if you guys are cool with that. Listeners, panelists, anything like that. That's the end of the cast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you're notified when a new cast is approaching, etc., etc. Happy holidays. Veterans Day is coming up this Friday, so you know, if you got any vets in your family, I mean, I would say thank them for their service, but just appreciate the shit they have to go through.